In the year 30 AD, a group of roughly 120 disciples lived in Jerusalem under a shadow of uncertainty. Jesus had ascended, leaving them in a city that had just executed their leader, and they remained huddled together in a local upper room. This map illustrates the specific geographic instructions Jesus left behind, requiring this small group to expand in concentric circles, starting in Jerusalem, moving through the surrounding regions of Judea and Samaria, and eventually reaching the edges of the Roman world. Fulfilling that mandate required a catalyst. During the festival of Pentecost, the disciples reported the arrival of the Holy Spirit with wind and fire. They immediately began preaching in the streets, resulting in 3,000 people joining the movement in a single day. This growth relied on spontaneous, spirit-empowered witnessing that outpaced the development of any formal church administration or institutional structure. The movement's earliest success was concentrated entirely within Jerusalem. Public healings and mass baptisms near the temple allowed the group to swell in size and influence within months. This rapid expansion drew immediate pushback from the Sanhedrin. The religious authorities responded with threats and the arrest of Peter and John, attempting to contain the message before it could spread further. This tension erupted into lethal violence when a deacon named Stephen was brought before the council. After a bold defense of his faith, the crowd dragged him out of the city and stoned him to death. Stephen's death marked a turning point. With the authorities now using lethal force, the movement faced the very real possibility of being extinguished before it ever left its home city. This map shows how the persecution following Stephen's murder actually backfired. As believers fled for their lives, they carried their message with them, scattering out of Jerusalem and into the surrounding territories. Long-standing cultural barriers began to fall. Philip took the message north to the Samaritans and later baptized an Ethiopian royal official, signaling that the movement was no longer confined to a single ethnicity or city. On the road to Damascus, the movement's most violent opponent, Saul, experienced a conversion that inverted his entire mission. The man who had been hunting Christians became the primary architect of their expansion. Each attempt to suppress the movement through violence effectively served as an engine that pushed it further into the world. The Apostle Peter experienced a vision that removed the distinction between clean and unclean foods, leading him to visit a Roman centurion named Cornelius. When Cornelius's household received the Holy Spirit, it confirmed that the message was officially open to non-Jews. This created a massive internal crisis. Early leaders had to debate whether these new Greek and Roman converts were required to follow Jewish ceremonial laws, including circumcision. The Jerusalem Council settled the issue in Acts 15. They declared that faith was the only requirement for inclusion, liberating the movement from the constraints of traditional Jewish law. This decision allowed the followers, now called Christians, to grow into a truly international, multi-ethnic organization that could survive in any culture. With these theological barriers removed, Paul embarked on 3 sprawling missionary journeys that took him into the heart of the Roman Empire's most influential provinces. Paul targeted the intellectual elite. At Mars Hill in Athens, he engaged Epicurean and Stoic philosophers, translating his message into their cultural language. In commercial hubs like Ephesus, he established ministry centers lasting years. These ruins reflect the scale of urban environments Paul influenced. This presence threatened local economies, sparking silversmith riots and assassination plots. Paul was frequently beaten and imprisoned, challenging entrenched traditions. Despite this persistent opposition, the message took root in the most influential intellectual and economic centers of the ancient world. Paul's final journey was the result of a legal appeal to Caesar. This forced the Roman Empire to provide an armed escort that took him directly down the Appian Way and into the city of Rome itself. The book of Acts ends unexpectedly. Paul is shown under house arrest, preaching boldly and unhindered, but Luke omits the details of his trial or his death. By stopping mid-sentence, Luke focuses the reader's attention on the survival of the movement, rather than the biography of its leader. The jump from a small room in Jerusalem to the streets of Rome completed the geographic arc established at the beginning, showing a trajectory that continued long after the final chapter was written.